Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so Donald Trump had a cabinet meeting today, which is the last scheduled cabinet meeting for 2025. Today being December 2nd, 2025. And I record this at a little after 7 p.m. Pacific time. After the president gave his rambling talk with which he complained about the stolen 2020 election, Pete Hegseth went next. And one of the first things noticed was that his sign that said Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, there were two S's for secretary. An unfortunate typo. For those who aren't familiar, the SS were the most fanatical of the German units in World War II. They were the Nazis. They were the ones that perpetrated war crimes against Jewish people and such in Germany. Okay. While Hegseth and other officials were discussing their departments, TV cameras trained on Trump were showing him struggling to stay awake. He would sit on back in his chair. His eyes were drooping. You know, he's kind of like this. He looks like an old man falling asleep. His eyes are half open, then they go closed, and they're half open. When it finally came to a Q&A session, they went back to Hegseth to ask him some questions. And the first, they were asking questions about the strike. And Hegseth said that he didn't see that there were survivors in the water when this, and that he couldn't see anything because after the first strike, the boat was on fire and there was smoke everywhere and, you know, the fog of war. So because he had already been there for a while, he didn't want to stick around because there were other things he needed to do. As being the Secretary of War, you can imagine how busy he is. So he had no idea there was a second strike. And then, you know, that's why the Admiral had to call that second strike all on his own. Now, that's really convenient and everything, but I'll bet you there's going to be some records that contradict that. Notice how the story keeps changing, the story keeps evolving. And it's because they haven't gotten the right story, because every time they come up with a new story, holes are poked in it or new evidence is released, and then they have to rethink the story. This is not going to play well when Hegseth is brought before the Armed Services Committees in the Senate or the House, because there's going to be a lot of very pointed questions being asked, and I hope somebody puts up a video montage of all the, you know, chronologically, all the things Pete Hegseth has said, and ask him which ones were the lies. So this was a lie. So this was a lie. Just twist that guy into a pretzel. But Donald Trump was sleeping. And even there's a couple times where Hegseth like looks at Trump to say something like, "We don't want drugs in this country, right?" And he's like, his health is bad. His health is bad. Let's look. And apparently Donald Trump last night posted up couple hundred posts on Truth Social around midnight. He just went on a posting binge. And now he can't stay awake for his own meetings. The fellow I watch on TikTok, who's a PhD in physical therapy, he was saying, you know, this is very, very common for somebody with dementia. Their circadian rhythms are all out of whack. So that's why he's falling asleep during the middle of the day, because he's up all night tweeting, apparently, you know. So the more he's up late at night, the more he's tweeting, the more he's disrupting his circadian rhythms, the quicker the dementia is going to spread and take over his brain, so to speak. The plaques that grow on the surface of the brain will eat basically holes in your brain, holes in your memory, and it's not reversible. Let's take a look at Trump's health here. Okay, come on down. Donald Trump's general health. We got his MRI test back, and it said his, they scanned his stomach and his abdomen and his heart. They didn't mention if his head was scanned. That doesn't mean his head wasn't scanned. They just didn't mention it. They said it was preventative. You don't use MRIs for preventative measurements. That's not a thing. And they said he was in super excellent health or something. Just terminologies that doctors don't use unless Trump is dictating type of things here. His health is not good. So let's see where we're at with it, okay? Again, this is for entertainment purpose only. I am not a doctor. And to quote Dr. McCoy, I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. But for entertainment purposes only, looking at Trump's health, his current state of his health, we start with the Ace of Pentacles. Big health event. Big concern with his health. Aces are powerful starts. Pentacles are about wealth, health, and value. So a big powerful thing with his health. And again, the arbor, the arch down here, is if you don't learn your lesson, you are bound to repeat it. What's the cross with his health? The Hermit card. He's retreating. He's mentally retreating, and it's becoming more and more obvious for people to see, but they're not talking about it. In some ways, they're trying to keep him calm. The whole, again, I quote that one physical therapist on TikTok. He referred to the East Wing as an adult coloring book for Trump. It's something that he can play with, that he's somewhat familiar with, and it keeps him pacified. The fact that he's designing it to make it look like Mar-a-Lago is probably because he's familiar and likes Mar-a-Lago. So this is all just taking somebody whose brain is dwindling to that of a toddler and younger, and just trying to make do. But they don't dare share the health with us. At least not everything that's on with it. Yeah, they're keeping a lid on his health issues. They share stuff with us. They show some reports, but then the reports aren't written properly, and it's not all the testing that's being done. In the past, you've got the Seven of Cups. This is a card of integrity. They said they were going to be the most transparent administration ever, but they've never been transparent with Trump's health. Ever. Trump literally had people go into one of his original doctor's offices and take all his medical records so that that information could never be leaked or somehow get into hands outside of Trump's. That type of thing. You can't trust this administration. Everything's secret when it comes to Trump's health. Current situation is the Five of Cups. This is the minor arcana death card. His health is declining. They're keeping it quiet for now, but they can't keep it quiet forever because it's becoming obvious for everybody to see. Cups, cups, cups. Overarching energy is the Ten of Wands. Trump, he's tired. He's exhausted. He cannot do this burden. Now, the New York Times just put out a story noting how Trump's energy levels are way down, and then Trump gets all angry about that, saying his energy levels are fine, but then he has a cabinet meeting where he's falling asleep. The times aren't wrong. This is also an indication that the American oligarchs are done with Trump. When the New York Times puts out an article about Trump's energy decreasing, they're not doing that for me or you. They're doing that for MAGA. They're putting it out there that his energy levels are down. And then they let you see it with your own eyes when he's dozing off in a meeting. That's the slow boil of the frog. They are trying to get rid of Trump. They just have to do it slowly so that MAGA can adjust to when the actual event happens. The American oligarchs don't want a five of wands moment with MAGA. Lesson to be learned with Trump's health. He's done this to himself. A lifetime of decadence, a lifetime of eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. The tomorrow is almost here. He's never taken good care of his health. He's his own worst enemy. He's had great genetics to last this long, but his own behaviors, his own mannerisms are going to be his undoing. The outcome is the strength card. He's holding on, but I think he's losing strength. I'm going to read this as reverse. This isn't mastery. This is him losing. This is the weakness that's coming over him. This is also take your medicine type of thing. The lion is going to be shut up here. We're not there yet. We are not there yet, but it's happening. And again, this could also be, when I was talking about the corporate media trying to help MAGA along, this could be that strength card. You're feeding them something they don't want to see, something they don't want to hear. But you've got to force feed them that, because Trump is not long for this world. And the corporate media, they're led by extreme billionaires, American oligarchy or world oligarchy, and they control the narrative. They control the information you see. Do you think it's a surprise that they wanted TikTok sold and owned by an American oligarch so that they can control the narrative? Elon Musk buying Twitter, which was one of the biggest independent news platforms where people around the world could share news freely. They didn't want that. They want to control the news. They want to control the narrative. That's how this works. What's going on with the American oligarchy right now? How are they handling the situation with Trump as they watch him twilighting in front of the cameras? They're broadcasting it. They're getting the message out. The cross is the passion here. Yeah, they're showing how the message they're trying to get out is not that Trump has passion. He's losing that passion. He's losing that energy. And they're prepping people. This is the leaving card, getting people ready to separate from something. Right now, they are broadcasting Trump's message on immigrants. And Trump seems to feel that that's his ace in the hole, are immigrants. But most of the American people aren't liking this. And then you've got the whole coverage of what's going on in the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific, with missiles hitting fishing vessels or drug running vessels, depending who you talk to. And they're seeing how the Americans are responding to it in a war crimes type manner. How are the media handling Trump's his nodding off and such? Page of Swords. Yeah, they are getting ready to replace him. We're getting leaks. This is like a whistleblower card. We're getting leaks. Notice how Twitter, for a day, had the transparency of the countries removed. So you could see the originating country where all these big MAGA accounts came from. And they were not in the United States. They were outside the United States. They were in Nigeria. They were in East Asia. They were in Russia. They were in Eastern Europe. These accounts that say they're an American account, Americans for America, and you find out they're all a bunch of foreign accounts with bots, basically. I thought maybe Elon Musk had done that, but it was suggested that maybe was a hack, which is why it got fixed. But, it's kind of like it just give everybody a quick flash. Look, everything that you thought was real was fake. You saw the wizard behind the curtain. Toto pulled the curtain back, and they closed the curtain again. Are you going to believe your lying eyes when it was showed to you? These little things that are being leaked that we're seeing here. How's the media handling this judgment? They're out of control. They're calling people to arms. I think they know the end is near for Trump. They are the ones who are going to make the call, not Trump. They're going to be the ones who make the call, and they're the ones who are going to take the action for it. Certainly, if we were looking at this with Hegseth and Trump's immigration policy here, information's being leaked out and people are now alert to it. It's the end of Hegseth for sure, because somebody's got to take the fall for this, and it's not just going to be the admiral. And, in some ways, by taking a stand on stuff like this, the media might be able to redeem its reputation. That Page of Swords could very well represent independent media, the small guys, the Midas Touch, the Aaron Parnases of the world. And, they are the real threat to corporate media, are these smaller media channels. Under the Desk News, Texas Paul, The Bulwark, stuff like that. These non-traditional groups of people coming in, reporting the news, and the news companies don't control that narrative. They can for right now because they're still the biggest and best funded out there, and they've got the infrastructure for it. But more and more people don't get their news from newspapers and things like that. They go to these independent journalists. And that's kind of a... I'm channeling. I'm losing vocabulary here. It's the dire threat, but that's not the word I'm looking for there. Anyways, I'll have to let it go. What's next with the corporate media? Do they continue to cover for Trump? A little four-quarter. There's going to be more of a decline in health that we're seeing. The death card. So we start with the 2 coins. We have a death card, the 6 of coins, and the celebration card, the Ace of Wands. I think what you're going to see with the media going forward is as Trump's health declines, they're going to report on it because there's money to be made. This is like the last... Trump dying or disappearing and dying is the last gift he can give the media because they can really, really capitalize. Now, the golden goose... Basically, they're losing their golden goose, but that doesn't mean you can't roast it. Roast it, get that goose, get all the golden eggs out of it, and then cook the mofo. You might as well eat it. His death will be celebrated. Better take advantage of it when you've got the chance, because once Trump is gone, you don't have a boogeyman. If you're left media, and for the right media, you don't have a demigod. It's what do you do next? J.D. Vance does not make for a great boogeyman, and he certainly doesn't motivate people to do MAGA. So what will the media do at that point? Do you continue to try and force your narrative on people, or do you go back to reporting the news? I think it's probably be the former, but nobody is going to bring money in like Trump brought money in for them. Anything else, Spirit, you want us to know? Anything else you want us to know? God, they're just so untrained. I mean, what happens when Trump just drops dead? And they've been saying how healthy he is for all this time. You know what I mean? What are the White House doctors going to say? Are you going to testify that he told you what to write and you just did what you were ordered? You know what? You see what I mean? This doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. What else do we need to know? 4 swords. Is Trump going quiet? King of Pentacles. 2 of Swords. 10 of Cups. And the Lover's card. What else do we need to know? Probably, as Trump goes silent and maybe is pushing up the daisies, a choice needs to be made. Do you do what enriches yourself, or do you do what's best for society? It's almost like the media is having, or American oligarchy, but the American oligarchy or the world oligarchy and the media are going to have their own come to Jesus moment. And what side of history do you want to be on? Are you going to be like Rupert Murdoch and go for more money? Or are you going to try and start reporting again things that are of interest to the common person? We are in for some wild times for sure. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only. Truly it is. I am not a doctor, and I cannot make good medical decisions because I'm not a doctor. I'm not trained in that thing. I just read tarot cards, ask questions, read tarot cards, and interpret them best I can. But I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video.